When a VPC is created, there are some components that actually get created by default. For example, when you create a VPC, it gets a main macro that gets created, it gets a default security group, and it gets a main route table. Now, a route table is very important because a route table simply defines how traffic gets into and out of your subnet. A route table contains a set of routes, and this set of routes just simply show the flow of traffic into and out of your subnet. When you create a subnet, you must associate a route table to it. If you do not associate a route table to your subnets, it definitely means that there is not going to be any traffic flow into and out of your subnet. That is why, when you created the VPC the first time, AWS created the main route table, so that if you do not allocate a route table to that subnet, automatically it gets associated to the main route table. Route tables are the most important aspect when it concerns components of the VPC. So, let's say for example, you want to make these two subnets public. When you say we want a subnet to be public, it simply means that we want resources within or resources created inside of the subnet. We want those resources to be allocated public IP addresses. We know by default, resources within your VPC network will always have a private IP address. No matter the subnet where they are going to be given a private IP address. But now there's scenarios where you might want those resources to have public IP addresses so that they can talk to the internet. So for you to actually make a subnet public, it's dependent on if the internet gateway is attached to the VPC, and besides that, you want to pay attention to the route table associated to that subnet. So, if I want this subnet to be made public, and if I want this subnet to be made public, I will need to ensure that the route table, which is associated to this subnet, actually has a route which is facing the internet gateway. That simply means that as part of this route table, I'm going to have a destination which is 0.0.0.0/0 and a target which is the internet gateway. Let's talk about the destination and let's talk about the target. Anytime a route table is created, you're going to have the default route in every route table. The default route has a destination which is the side node of the VPC, and it has a target which is the local. That default route in every route table created in your VPC can never be changed. That is because it simply says intercommunication for subnets in that VPC is actually allowed. So it means that with that route, it's specifying traffic can flow from your subnet to other subnets within that VPC. Just like traffic can flow from any of the subnets in the VPC to the subnets. And it's simply what the route is saying. So if you want to make a subnet public, you want to ensure that as part of the route table, you add a route which has a destination which is 0.0.0.0/0. This simply means traffic going anywhere, out of a target which is the internet gateway. So that simply means that resources in this subnets are going to have a private IP address which is running around, and they can also have public IP addresses allocated to that. It is the public IP address that these resources can now be able to make use of the internet gateway, and they can actually access the internet. When we talk about private subnets, We simply mean that resources created in the private subnets can only have private IP addresses. So there is no way a resource in the private subnet gets a public IP address.